Hello, I'm Harry Riley. Welcome to Harry's 10-Minute Tales. This is called Accused by Harry Riley. This story is fiction and based on real events that happened a long time ago. Australia, 1830. Are you sure you want to do this, Tom? You've made a good life for yourself out here. You're respected. Why throw it all up and go back to England, just because the Crown has granted you a free pardon? Things back there won't have changed much with that po-face lot, even in these last 10 years. Thanks, I appreciate all you say, Herb. But it's just something I have to do. Unfinished business for all my mates who didn't make it. You understand. OK, if that's the way it has to be, then good luck to you, sport. Though we'll miss you like blazes, you know that. Tom Pearce duly arrived back in England on a dull and cloudy day, which reminded him of that faithful day of the Pentridge March in 1817, when he had joined the rioters set on wrecking and ruining local property in protest at the chronic shortage of food. Bread, or rather the lack of it, had been the motive then, but it was to be revenged now against the Judas who had betrayed so many. He determined to seek out Arthur Connolly and make him suffer for his treachery. Arthur had walked from the court a free man, and over the years had prospered. He had changed his lifestyle and left the pits to become a carpenter. This had been his father's trade, and he had inherited his business and tools. Moving house, he had taken his wife and family and gone to live in the Derbyshire village of South Normanton nearby. After a tiring journey, Tom Pearce duly arrived back in Eastwood, and it was a simple matter to call on his old friends and to establish the present whereabouts of his one-time mining pal. He himself had changed quite a lot since his forced absence in the colonies, and it was hard for folk to recognise him. The tall, slim miner had now filled out and wore a thick dark beard that covered the whole of his face and gave him a menacing appearance. He looked like a man you would not like to quarrel with. Much later it was remarked that with his mad staring eyes he seemed like the devil incarnate. This aspect no doubt enabled him to achieve fast answers, and soon he was on his way to the address of Connolly the traitor. Edith Connolly opened the rickety door of the old barn adjacent to their cottage that served as a workshop for her husband's business, and asked Arthur if he had much more to do before returning for his evening meal. "Shan't be long now, love. I'm just repairing this chair for old Ma Jenkins down the common. Give me another half-hour or so." It was only a few minutes after she had returned to the house that another visitor, Siley, entered the barn. "Who are you? I can't take any more orders now. I'm too busy. You'll have to come back another time." "Sorry, Arthur. There ain't going to be another time. You've reached the end of your lying, treacherous road." "Tom? Tom Pearce? Is that really you? I thought you died in Australia. How did you get back?" "Oh, you did you? Well, I'm here in the flesh. They gave me a pardon so I could come back and kill a filthy Judas. Thought you'd seen the last of me and hoped they'd put a rope round my neck. Now it's your turn to pay, and I'll have your lights." Arthur screamed his denial. No, you and me were always pals. You know I'd never say out against you, Tom." From beneath his long black overcoat, Pearce produced a wicked-looking blade and advanced menacingly towards this timid ex-friend. The smaller man shrank back in horror against the workbench at the far wall. He had nowhere else to run. They were now hardly a foot apart. Hearing raised voices, Edith ran out of the cottage and opened the barn door to investigate. "Arthur, who's with you?" In a quivering voice her husband replied, "Edith, it's Tom. He's back." "Not Tom? Surely not Tom Pearce? I heard the commotion. Whatever's the matter with you both?" Still menacing the cowering woodworker, Pearce yelled out, Ask him why he betrayed his mates. Paid you handsome, did they, Connolly? Enough to set up here in business?" This time it was Edith who spoke from just inside the doorway. With the cool voice of reason, she acknowledged how it must have looked after Tom and so many others were sentenced to deportation, only to see one of their own go free. "Listen, Tom, while you were out of the country, a government agent named Oliver has been unmasked as the real Judas. He was behind the rebellion all along. He set you all up. So put down that knife and come inside for a cuppa. Tell us how you've managed all this time." Still facing her husband, Tom listened and lowered his knife, now full of doubt. Is that true, Edith? You really mean it?" Arthur was like a terrified rat caught in a trap. Seconds away from violent death and reeling from the hot breath of his accuser, he panicked, instinctively grasping the thin chisel, and then, as Pearce listened, diverted by Edith, he seized his chance, jerked forward and plunged the instrument into the big man's neck. End.